U.S. President Donald Trump welcoming the signing of the Mecca Joint Defense Agreement by Turkey, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. On the other hand, Donald Trump and of course, the U.S. and South Korea are seeing a new development in their long-tested friendship. We see definitely a crack in their bilateral ties, especially because U.S. President Donald Trump has signaled that substantially to reduce planned joint military exercises with South Korea, and many more issues to discuss. I want to pass it to Norman Floyd Barnes in Washington. A very good morning to you. Just to get a comment from you, how you feel about an allied nation, South Korea, and Donald Trump in what he had stated that, and I quote, "Based on my very good friendship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea, I am not happy with the fact that United States has long ago agreed to participate in joint military exercises with South Korea," according to Truth Social post. But however, South Korea says the joint military drills began as scheduled even after this Trump post. Pass it on to you, Norman. How do you see this kind of development? Allied nations are now starting to feel the brunt of the aftermath of the Iran, U.S. and Israel war. Norman.
First thing, good morning. Today in Washington, there'll be more discussions about the president's announcement of the scaling back of the participation in the joint exercise with South Korea. Unfortunately, this news came out over the internet through other various sources, and both South Korea and North Korea are watching this. Also, China, Russia, and the rest of the world is watching this. This exercise is just an exercise, a practice exercise for potential coordination of military action in the region, the Pacific region. But it also gives a strong sign that the president and administration is not happy with South Korea's support with his battle with Iran. By the president taking this step, it sends shockwaves across the Pacific area about our support of South Korea. As you know, North Korea is an enemy of South Korea, and this tells the president, this tells North Korea that hey, there's seemed to be a fracture in the relationship between South Korea and the United States. And again, the president made comments about his renewed relationship with North Korea, stated as being stable. So now China is also digesting this information, and there's talk about actually the president actually has removed his last carrier from the region. It's going to be replaced hopefully with another carrier, but the situation is now focusing on Iran. The emphasis that the philosophy of first the Western Hemisphere, taking care of the Western Hemisphere, and also the area in the Pacific, the APAC area. Now it has shifted from that to a complete reversal. The focus is now on Iran. So that tells Iran that, hey, there something is happening in terms of what they figured going on. And you know, today is the day where the deal, the peace deal, the conversation about peace ends. So Iran is now preparing for a more, as they stated, a more offensive response to the United States and Israel. What that means, I don't know, but the U.S. is now preparing itself to focus more on that in Iran than what is happening in with South Korea in the drill. The president wanted to pull out completely, but because of the late timing of this, he decided just to scale back. But the emphasis is that they are not very pleased with South Korea, and our response and our relationship probably was going to be damaged. It gives a strong message to our enemy countries that we are no longer in the support of the what they call the Pacific region. Our presence there is very scattered, and is not going to be as pronounced and as powerful as we think. So here we go again. We got another opportunity arising. We'll see how China and Taiwan plays out, how North Korea plays out, and how other parts of the region, including the Middle East, Iran, take this information, use this information in their new offensive that they are planning to apply against the United States and Russia and excuse me and Israel.
South Korea and its economy depends heavily on exported energy elements, and that is why half of this story is coming to float. However, I want to focus regarding Iran, regarding the situation we see on the ground in the Middle East with Norman Floyd Barnes. We know that the Islamabad memorandum that was signed in June 17th, it has officially ended today. The date has expired. The 60-day period has well gone by. And senior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Commander Brigadier General Yadollah Javani says Iran's defensive posture is poised to shift toward a new maximum deterrence policy. And of course, the Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghei is saying that there is some new developments in the war, and he is, of course, taking a bite at one of America's neighbors, Canada, for that matter, for helping, and initially was being at a support of the U.S. administration as well as the military. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, what does this mean? The 60-day time period has ended. We've seen bouts of confrontations, bouts of attacking one another, offensives on both sides, and at this moment it's a confusing state. Even after the Mecca Joint Defense Agreement has been signed, it is leaders signing on pieces of paper, really ignoring the reality that security detail will not be ensured with U.S. support, and that is the Iranian viewpoint to this kind of problem. How do you see this kind of development, Norman?
Well, what we have now, both Iran and the United States has made a decision. And that decision is that they're going to continue this conflict more aggressively. The first sign the United States from the United States is the Pacific. We're now moving the aircraft carrier from the Pacific over to lead the carrier that is presently occupying the area around Iran. That is a staging preparation for military action, not just relief, but military action. So the United States is ready to respond to anything that Iran is preparing. Iran, on the other side, stating that the deadline is ended today, so they're going to up their military aggression, which I interpreted as there are going to be more attacks on the Gulf states, military installation by the United States, and other cyber-related incidents that cyber security issues that we are currently experiencing. I anticipate them to increase. There will be more pressure on the European nations, uh, the area around Ukraine. There'll be other things that is going to happen that we're going to feel here in the United States. And they say more aggressive is not just military; it's basically cyber, the artificial intelligence, and other things that we haven't discussed yet. Is going to come to surface. So I'm stating that we're basically prepared for a war, a more protracted war between the two parties. And the war I'm talking about is basically attacking resources, attacking infrastructures, attacking our ability for energy, uh, tightening up the Strait of Hormuz, the closure of the western of the area around the Red Sea. So they are now coordinating with the Houthis and other parts, Hamas, to prepare for a siege. I anticipate there will be some attacks in the region, which will generate a response from the United States, and the United States, in anticipating this, has moved and are gearing to mobilize the military, either through, I don't know, drones or other means to respond to these things. So now we're looking at the next stage. We saw the first part, there was a pause. There's a pause because now they're developing, both countries are now developing an action plan. And an action plan will probably lead into a military action. And as you know, the time is ticking here in the United States. We have a midterm coming up, and the timing of this is to disrupt that process here in the United States by keeping us occupied in a military conflict that has created problems.
Palestinians, the commentary by Ben Gavir, Security Minister for Israel, stating that we should be nightly killings of Palestinians. And not only so, U.S. envoy and son-in-law to U.S. President Jared Kushner has arrived in the Middle East for talks on a 15-point Gaza peace plan, amidst Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejecting the proposal, stating Israel will not pull out troops from Gaza until Hamas fully disarms. Of course, Jared Kushner's mission is to hold talks with Hamas representatives with regional officials in Cairo to push back on this new disarmament for withdrawal roadmap. Want to follow up with Norman Floyd Barnes. How you see this kind of development? We know the MOU has ended with Iran. Iran is observing these comments made by security officials in Israel. And any moment, any tinder can go burnt off and the fight might reignite as we know it. And it's going to have a very negative impact for the rest of the weeks and months to come of this year. How do you value this kind of events unfolding? Son-in-law Jared Kushner seems to be active in trying to reset some of the ties. The Board of Peace, I'm not sure if it is having any kind of fruitful action as well. Norman, how you see this kind of
But let us, in the meanwhile, let us also remind ourselves that the son-in-law, he is the son-in-law of Donald Trump, but he himself is also a Jew.
Right.
So that must be remembered also.
Exactly pointed, very accurately pointed by Dr. Ali in the studio. I want to pass it to Norman, how you see it unfolding as well.
Well, my assessment is basically, first thing I want to talk about is the Board of Peace, which I call the Board of the 15 Pieces. Jared Kushner intent is to develop business relationships, transactional activity, a move to redevelop Palestine as a annexed part of Israel. The Israeli part is that they have a mission, and there's a reason why that official made that very vivid comment about the killing. That is how they think. That is the thought pattern. The only thing changes that it became public. We see it every day. We know what's going on. So you don't have to tell me to kill 40 more people. You're killing 45 more people every day. You're killing 50. You're killing hundreds of more people every day. You're decimating the area. You're preparing for a clean slate. The plan is basically is to repopulate the area with a business mindset, a more profit mindset, a plan to redistrict, repurpose the area of what they call presently Palestine. There is no real place for the Palestinian in this plan as they play right now. Hamas, all the other warring factions there, they are not in a position, or they're not prepared to give this, they're not prepared to give up and hand it over to Israel. They see exactly what's going on. There's no place for them. There is no plans for them in the future. There's no discussions about them participating in the plans for the future. It's only talking about how we move forward in a new mindset, a new front, a new purpose. Palestine, the state of having Palestine having its own statehood, in the minds of currently what we're looking at right now, there's no plans for that. There's no integration that involve the Palestinian people except to come in as day workers. There's nothing planned for a peaceful environment. Israel mindset is more, we have to take it all over. We have to control the area. In order to do that, we have to move all the current Palestinians out and create an environment where they cannot rise again. They cannot oppose us. That is not going to happen. So we're looking at an endless confrontation, endless confrontation. It'll never be a situation where Palestine gives up its right, the Palestinians give up his right to the homeland. There was always be instigation. They may kill a lot of them, they may destroy a lot of situations, but there was always going to be a conflict regarding the Palestinians and the Israelis as long as we on this earth. So it's not, it's not going to be a situation where they comfortably coexist. So endless wars, endless confrontation is a thing to plan. While on the other side, there's a business plan in place to develop that for profit. So let's sit back and watch how this thing develop. The United Nations has basically been absolutely useless in regarding the rights of people in this area response and holding people accountable. Israel and other countries are now know that the UN has no real effect. They're mostly a ceremonial, non-functional group of people who sit around and talk about how bad things are, how things shouldn't be, and how we're going to hold people accountable. But they do not have any authority to do any of that. So Israel believes that they can do what they want to do because there's no governing force above them to control them. There's only support from the United States, and the United States has given them the green light. So endless war will continue in a situation where they want to oppress and basically create a new annexation for Israel, and the Palestinians are not going to accept that.